Hello, everyone. Welcome to this section of mentorship class with Pastor Gladys Ono. Pastor Gladys Ono is a friend and a sister, an anointed woman of God. I've had her preach the gospel and I've had her teach. She is loaded with so many ideas that will help us today. And our topic today is what to do while waiting. And I thought of someone that could take on this topic. The first person that came to mind was Pastor Gladys. I met her on a Bible study group. And from then, when I heard her teach and speak, I was really, really touched by her message. And I think that she will be a blessing to us today. Please, Pastor Gladys, could you introduce yourself to us, please?
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, man of God, Mr. Emmanuel, for the opportunity to be on this platform today. You're doing such a great work. And I know that God will not only reward you, but He will use you to transform several lives.
Amen.
And use you to guide many people and use you as a sounding board in the name
Amen.
of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. My name is Gladys Ono. I'm so happy to be joining us today. And I serve as a pastor at my church, as one of the associate pastors under the leadership of my senior pastor and spiritual father, Reverend Dr. David Philemon. And my church name is Church on Fire International. I have my own ministry. It's called God, You and Me, and Jim for short, where is a godly platform where we talk about relationships, building godly homes, marriages, and family. And I am also a satisfied relationship and marriage coach. And when I'm not doing anything marriage, family, or ministry related, I work as an IT professional. So,
Wow. So you have many caps. You have many things that you are doing. You didn't tell us that you are an author. You've published books.
Yeah, that's true. I have a book called God, You and Me. I'm sorry, I said God, You and Me. Experiencing a Faithful God. It's a powerful book, faith-filled book, and I really think everyone should get that book because it was given to me in a place of prayer, actually at church, at an encounter. Because throughout, so now I've had this process where I felt like oh my God, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's almost like like I was in my waiting season of things, just waiting for things to happen. And then all of a sudden I was just here where things were just happening. And I look back, I'm like, there were literally moments where I wasn't faithful to God, but He showed me faithfulness. And last year, experienced the faithfulness of God on a different dimension. And I literally had the Spirit of God say to me that I needed to document it for all the people who were going through a period of uncertainty, doubt, a period of discouragement. Experiencing a Faithful God will be a book that will help them, even if it means encouraging them, gingering them up, just letting them know that they're not alone. So I really urge you to get that book.
Wow. So you're going to put the link here for us.
Yeah, I'll do so.
So we're going to have the link of, I think I've seen the book. I've gone through some of the pages on Amazon. So I've seen the book already. It's a very good book.
Thank you.
So I also observed that you spend time in the gym. It's like you go to the gym often.
You mean like working out, or you mean? I do. I do work out. I try to make sure that I create a healthy routine and lifestyle because God has given us this body and we have to be faithful steward of our body. So
exactly. I like that. We have to be faithful stewards of our body. So diving in straight into our topic today, what to do while waiting. I think in my personal life, the toughest thing I've ever done is to wait. I hate to wait. Honestly speaking, I hate to wait. And I think the area that God is dealing with me presently is in the area of waiting, especially when I think that I already have what I need to take this decision. I already have what I need to get married. I already have thinking in my human state that I've read books, I've listened to teachers, I've gone through mentorship. Where is the wife? And God is saying, wait. Do you think it's tough to wait? Do you think it's a difficult thing to wait?
Oh my God. I think waiting is extremely tough. Waiting can test your patience, can test your spiritual life, can even
Exactly.
test your relationship with God. I think it was maybe like 2 weeks ago. I had an appointment at a hospital and I completed my appointment. I had like a procedure, operation procedure. So this procedure, because I didn't feel the need to have any member of my family come with me to this procedure because my sister had to work and my brother had to work. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to disrupt their daily activity because my sister had already taken off from work the day prior for her own appointment. So I'm like, okay, it's just gonna be maybe like a 1 hour appointment at the
Wow.
hospital, and I'll come back. I went to that appointment. After my appointment, I was under anesthesia, so they told me that I needed to wait for someone to come pick me up. And after I got conscious, I kept telling them I'm lucid, I'm okay. I can order Uber. I can go home by myself. I literally know myself. And they can say, yeah, I understand, but you are under anesthesia and we cannot trust anyone else but family to take you home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my sister is at work. I'm not gonna pull anyone else, like from their activity. They kept telling me to wait. So I had to book this thing called MedCard. Medicar is like an ambulance,
Okay.
but not necessarily an ambulance. That the whole point of it is to get a medical personnel with you to take you home because they don't want you to get kidnapped, because you are under anesthesia, right? I waited for a long time. I waited for a very, very long time. I'm so sorry. Are you still hearing me all right? I feel like there's a plane passing by
I can
and
hear
it's
you.
distracting. Okay, great. So I waited for a long time. I'm telling you, I went for this appointment at my appointment was at 10:20. I waited to my procedure lasted for like about 45 minutes. So I waited for till like 1 p.m. to get the
Wow.
med card to take me. It was crazy.
Wow.
So I was waiting, and at this point I was losing it because I didn't even really take off from work,
Hmm.
because I just thought it was gonna be like an appointment. I go in and come out. So I'm quickly realizing that it's not it. So I started waiting and I was losing it. So I'm like, okay, I need to talk to the manager because I need to go. I'm okay. Like
You have
I'm
to go.
conscious. I kept using the word I'm lucid. I'm lucid. I'm lucid. So the manager, the nurses, they all came to talk to me. Do you know what? I waited for more than 3 hours. I was okay. Nothing was really wrong with me. I just
Hmm.
went for an outpatient test. It's just like a regular test you do because of PCP requested for it.
Mhm.
I tried to sneak out of the hospital. I
Really?
tried to run away and ordered Uber. The Uber was almost coming in front of the hospital. I tried to run away and I wasn't necessarily running away because obviously my insurance had already paid for it, right? But I
Yeah.
was just tired of waiting and I hadn't eaten all day. I was about to run away when the nurse got me.
Hmm.
I was so furious. I was like, Gladys, we've been so nice to you throughout your stay here. Like in the morning, we were so kind to you. Why would you want to run away? Do you know you're going to put us in trouble? We're going to have to call 911 because you're eluding medical advice, whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they insisted that they wouldn't let me go without someone or without the medical car taking me home. And it dawned on me, in as much as I wanted to go because I was hungry, in as much as I wanted to go because I've been waiting there for a long time and I honestly didn't plan to stay more than an hour. Even if it
Yeah.
was 2 hours, it would have been understandable. But I was here almost 5 hours now. I didn't plan to stay that long. So I was so mad. So I wanted to take matters into my own hands. And it dawned on me that these people were protecting me. I thought I
Wow.
was lucid, but they are the medical people. They know better than I do, And if anything happens to me after I'm gone from the hospital, from like that, it's on them because they have violated their rules. And that's how we are in life as Christians.
Hmm.
Most of the time, God is looking out for us, and we think we've crossed all our T's and dot all our I's, and we are good. Like I've analyzed the situation, I know what is to come, I know what to expect. I have studied, I've prayed, I've asked, I've sought for mentorship. So I got this, so I'm ready for this, so I can take on this. But then only to realize that God is telling you, just hold on a little bit. There's something I'm looking out for that you have no idea about. There's something I'm watching for. There's something I'm protecting you from that you have no idea about. And then we keep wanting to just, leave that season that we're in, that waiting season that we're in. So waiting season can be very, very tough, and it's tough on everyone. Whether you're waiting to get your exam results back, or like mine, waiting for someone to come pick me up, or waiting to get a call back from a job interview, or waiting to get your test result back from a hospital or a doctor, or waiting to get married, or waiting to get admission to school, whatever it is at all, is extremely hard to wait, whether you're a Christian or not. It is hard to wait. And I think one of the reasons why it is hard to wait is because waiting is not something that we can control the outcome.
Wow, that's
so because
powerful.
you think, because you think, like I've done everything that there is for me to do. Whatever is coming next, I can't control it. And because you cannot control it, that makes the waiting even more difficult, right? Because if I was waiting, let's say for instance, someone wanted to reward me with a Rolls Royce, by the end of 2 weeks, I know what is coming by the end of 2 weeks. And they say, Gladys, all you have to do
is
chill. Just don't go, chill, don't go out, be at home, fast and pray. At the end of 2 weeks, I'm going to give you a rest. I'm not going to fret because I know what is coming, right? Exactly. I know that as long as I fast and pray, at the end of 2 weeks, I'm going to get a rest. But sometimes we realize in our Christian world that is quickly not the case. Depending on your relationship with God, like just because you're waiting on something doesn't mean that you're going to get what you're waiting for.
What?
Just because you're waiting, just because you're waiting for something doesn't mean that you're going to even get the outcome that you desire. I'm going to digress a little bit, and I'll say that sometimes we've seen in the area of relationship where maybe someone who is, like a virgin have honored God with their life. Like, I'm not going to get married until I'm not going to have sex until I get married, and honor God with my virginity, my purity. And in return, I want God to bless me with a good man and a good marriage, So it's like we're trading our purity for God's blessing.
I used to believe that.
And sometimes we get disappointed when you get married and you realize that you're having problems in your marriage, and you get angry at God. You're like, God, but I waited, but I am a virgin, but I prayed, but I fasted, but you gave me this man, but you gave me this woman. Why will I be having this kind of problems? So why did I have to wait if I'm going to go through this anyway? So sometimes, just because we're waiting doesn't mean we're going to get the outcome that we want. But there is something that the Bible promises us. It says that God causes everything to work together for good to them that love him.
Yeah.
So I think the key word is loving God. Because loving God changes how you wait. Loving God changes what you do when you wait. Loving God changes the condition of your heart while you wait. And loving God changes the outcome of what you might get or will get while you wait. Because sometimes we think, I'm fasting because I want this. But are you fasting because you want this or because you love God? Because those are two different things.
That's powerful. Wow. You said some things that really hit me. That really, really hit me. Like, first you said God is protecting us whenever we are waiting. It's actually protection. And also you said just because you are waiting doesn't mean you will get what you are waiting for.
Yes.
Because my mindset was that, when I'm waiting for this and I'm paying a price for it, like you talked about preserving, my body, it means God is going to give me this in return. That was my concept, my mental concept about waiting. But you shifted my mindset on this. So the idea is for God to change the condition of my heart. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that, and also realizing, because there's sometimes that we are not actually waiting in God.
Okay.
But we are not being sensitive, because sometimes you can be waiting, but you're not being sensitive for when God tells you to move.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it was in the book of Exodus or maybe Deuteronomy. I don't remember where God was telling the children of Israel. Moses was asking God, "What should we do?" And God told them, move forward. Tell the people of Israel to move forward. So sometimes God is telling us to move forward, but we are still in that waiting season. We don't realize that there has been a shift, from where we are, because sometimes we make the mistake to think the direction that God gave us yesterday is applicable for today. No, it says the
Wow.
message of God are new every morning. So every day, every season of your life, very, very important. Every season of your life, what is God saying? Because the instruction He gave you last season is not the instruction He's going to give you this season, because last season
Exactly.
was different. Last
Exactly.
season required a different, approach. And last season you wanted a different outcome. So
Yeah.
this season it has to be different too. So God, what are you saying? So paying
Okay.
attention to what God is saying will help you. And like I said, if I go back to what I said, that sometimes just because you're waiting doesn't mean you're gonna get what you want. If I'm to clarify that a little bit, so it doesn't sound as if God will not give you what you expect. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But sometimes we use our waiting season to manipulate God.
Wow.
Sometimes, not all the time, depending on the condition of your heart. Because you can say, okay, God, I'm waiting. Because I'm waiting, this thing must be done. And
Mm.
because it has to be done, when it's not done, then you become angry at God.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get bitter. It's very, very easy to get angry. It's very easy to get resentful towards God. It's not
Mm.
even, if you're resentful towards man, at least you can ask the Holy Spirit to help. But when you're resenting God, who are you
Yes,
going to
correct.
ask to help?
Mm.
And sometimes we can resent God because what we've prayed for, we haven't gotten it.
Yeah.
And that can cause us to resent God and like cause us not to trust His timing. Because honestly, when you start waiting, I said in my book, when you're waiting, you're not putting a deadline on God. God, you must do this thing by this time. Waiting is just the time you put is just for yourself for accountability. Because the Bible said, I'm going to read from 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. It says, in all this, make every effort to respond to God's promises. Supplement your faith with generous provision of moral excellence with knowledge with self-control with patient endurance with godliness, and godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love for everyone. So, which means that even during the waiting season, there are not only things that you are supposed to learn. There's there should be things that should change in your relationship with God for the better.
Yeah.
Because if you go through the waiting season and your relationship with God doesn't get deeper, a
Mm.
deeper meaning, you don't get to know the characteristics and the knowledge and the attribute of God.
Wow.
When you repeat a waiting, because we don't just go through waiting once in our life. As long as we are alive, there will be seasons where we're gonna have to wait for something, you
Yeah.
know, and it might not be something major and
Yes.
it might not be something minor, but every time there will be time that we have to wait for something, right? So if you go through a waiting season as a believer, somebody that knows God, and those things that you need to learn at those seasons, you don't learn them. It's
Mm.
going to be difficult when you're going through your next uh, season of delay. I'm going to give you an instance. When I got out of college,
Mm.
I uh, professors used to tell us, "Oh, brace yourself when you get out of school. You might not get a good job, or you might not get a high-paying job. Just make sure that you get a job that puts your feet at the door, so you can work your way up
Start
from
with
there."
something.
Oh God, I was so fervent when I
Wow.
was in school. I was so fervent with, like my grades, because I knew what I wanted. But
Mm.
I also, my relationship with God then was still trying to develop, right? So I
Mm.
told myself, I decreed, I declared, I prayed, I spoke, and whenever the teacher would say that, I was like, it doesn't
Mm.
apply to me anyway because I'm a child of covenant
Yeah.
and I'm going to get a good job that will pay me a certain amount of money. And I even give towards it. When I go to church, I will give money towards it, and I will pray, I will declare, and I will believe, even I will sow towards it. It hit me when I got out of school and I was trying to look for a job. 2 months passed, I wasn't getting a job. And now I started getting really, really angry. Because
Wow.
remember, I'm a child of God. I'm a child of covenant. I've prayed, I've declared, right? So I have
Yeah.
covenanted, I have given, I have sown, I've done everything before I even got to this stage. The reason why I did those things is because when I get to this stage, I want it to be easy peasy. So that I
Easy.
wouldn't have to so everything that everyone else is dealing with, I wouldn't have to deal with it. But do you know what? In as much as I've done all those things, there were things that I wasn't paying attention to. It was, how did my resume look?
Wow.
Because if I'm praying and fasting and declaring, and I'm not working on my resume to get the kind of job I'm anticipating or the kind of pay that I'm anticipating, I'm not going to get that job. The Bible says faith without works is dead. So, and that's what we do as Christians. Sometimes we wait blindly. We don't
Mm.
wait with focus. We have to wait with focus. Because when you wait with focus, it helps you, like pay attention to the things that you need to deal with that will
Wow.
get you from point A to point B. There gets to a point in your waiting where there's nothing you can do. It's just going to be handing you over to God. And I'm going to get to that point. But when you know that there are some things you need to focus on, you need to focus on those things.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, I know, like after that, after my graduation with school, as I was saying, I got really frustrated when I wasn't getting a job. I got so angry at God. I got so mad at God. So sometimes when they would declare, I'm like, oh, God will give you this. I'm like, yeah, right. I wouldn't even believe anymore. And that was beginning to creep in, right? And remember, I'm a fresh graduate who is already burning for Christ. And I'm like, God is giving me this money for kingdom influence. But that money is not there,
Mm.
and you're seeing unbelievers succeed, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, why should they be succeeding more than me? But you
Yep.
don't realize that we use God, sometimes we use faith as laziness not to do what we need to do.
Wow.
Like for someone who is believing God to be married, you have a nasty attitude, and during your waiting period, you're not working on your attitude, or you are just a homebody, you're not connecting with other people, or you're somebody who, like maybe you're praying to marry a pastor or a woman of God, and you're not increasing your spirituality. Is God gonna trust you with somebody who He has sent to do a lot of things for Him? Do you understand what I'm trying to
Mm.
say? Like
Yeah.
if you're trying to marry a man or a woman of a certain status, and you're not developing your character is bare minimum. You're not gonna get that, because no matter how much you decree and declare, the people you're looking for, they're not looking for you.
Wow.
Because you have to pray. Not only pray, you have to focus, you have to work on yourself. That's how you get your desired outcome. Because when your preparation, the things that you have prepared meets the opportunity that you are waiting for, it's gonna click.
So prayer
But
doesn't
when
take the place of preparation and responsibility.
no, no, prayer does not take the place of preparation or responsibility. I dare to say, and I stand to be corrected, I dare to say that prayer alone is actually for someone who is lazy, for someone who
Yes.
doesn't want to take that responsibility.
Yes.
Because you can't just pray. It's like looking for a job. And every day I'm in church, praying 72 days fasting and prayer. And
Mm.
I'm not washing my mouth, I'm not drinking water. I'm in church every day, right?
Uh,
Praying. If that prayer is not gonna get answered unless I apply for a job. Do you understand?
yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
how are they gonna know that I'm looking for a job?
Mm.
Someone is not just gonna walk into church and be like, "Oh, Sister Gladys, I see that you've been praying so long for a job." They don't even know what I'm praying for, because my
Exactly.
prayer is between me and God, right? So God is gonna use someone to answer my prayer if I put my resume out there.
Yes.
And that's what we do as Christians. We pray alone, we decree alone. We don't put in the works that is required for us to get to where we need to get to. And that's why I also started by saying it depends on what you're waiting for and
Mm.
understanding that season of your life. Because
Yeah.
this can be, like what I just said, is not applicable to everything.
Yes.
Depends on what you're waiting for and what season of your life you are in.
Wow. That's powerful. Like I said, you are shifting my mindset about this concept. So waiting is a season, like is a season. And the season could be repeated, right? All through our
Yeah.
lives. We have to wait for something, right?
Yes, all through our life, we have to wait for something. It would just be, sometimes it might be the same thing in a higher capacity. Sometimes it
Okay.
might be a different thing. For someone who is married and waiting to have a child, you know, like you're waiting now, but you're not waiting to get married. You're waiting to have a child now.
Yeah.
For someone who got out of school and you're waiting to, you know, get a job. You're not waiting for admission. You're waiting to get a job now. So, you know, like you wait, depends on what you're waiting for.
Yeah.
Just, you know, yeah, the season changes.